Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to another week in review. It is Friday, July 21st, 2023. We're in the 7th month of the year. I should have said that like on July 7th, right? But here we are. So I can't believe we're almost halfway. We're halfway into the summer. We're almost close to the fall. This year is going by fast. Where did the year go? I have no idea. But I would like to start off with the COVID numbers. So if you missed this live, you can catch the replay on Instagram. You can catch the whole video on YouTube and some clips on Twitter and TikTok and maybe Instagram. So, oh God, what's going on with my eyelid? There we go. Like there's something close to there. So, yeah. So let's get to these COVID numbers according to the WHO website, which is World Health Organization. We had 237,362 new cases within this last week. But overall, we have 768,237,788 cumulative cases of COVID-19. And in terms of the fatalities, we have 6,951,677. Damn. As for the United States of America, of course, we haven't had any new cases within the last 3 months, but we still have the highest cases on the globe. We have 103,436,829. In terms of the fatalities, we have 1,127,152. So let's read these numbers again. In terms of new cases within the last 7 days, we had 237,362. As for cumulative cases, we have 768,237,788. And as for the fatalities, we have 6,951,677. So we're close to the 7 million mark around the world. Hey, Kay, great to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. I hope work is okay. And as for the United States of America, 4.2% of the world's population. We always got to reiterate that message because we're not the biggest population on the globe, but we do have the highest cases on the globe. So there are 0 new cases that we haven't had any cases in a while, but we have 103,436,829. And as for the fatalities, we have 1,127,152. And according to the CDC, there are 6,209,122 people still in the hospital. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. It's a big change. And the total fatalities, as I mentioned, it's over 1 million, but it's really 1,135,364. Even the death toll has, gone down, but people are still succumbing to this virus. And regarding vaccinations, let's turn to vaccinations because we got to make sure of COVID-19. It's important. According to USAFacts.org, there are at least 270,227,181 people who received the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. But overall, we have 230,637,348 people who are fully vaccinated. And with the extra booster, there are 144,182,870 people that are fully vaccinated with the booster included. So, as I mentioned to people, and I'll post these numbers on my socials, COVID is still here. It's not going anywhere for quite some time. It might be here to probably in the middle or towards the end of 2024. We won't probably rid it till 2025. I said 2022 about 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But seeing how the rollout and seeing how people are still not taking it seriously, people's, relaxing on mask mandates and other crowd size and social distancing, and other countries around the world are facing like their wave, this still gonna be here. So don't get too comfy, because people are getting too comfortable and not wearing a mask, and next thing you know, September and October hit, another variant can pop up. So be mindful of that and aware. So still wear your mask. Yeah, COVID is still here. I kept telling people, mask up. I masked up at the gym. I masked up at the gym. I double mask on the train. I mask up in the elevator. I slip my mask down when there's not a whole bunch of people, outside. But as soon as I get on an avenue where there's a lot of people, that mask is up. Indoors, in stores, that mask is on. People be looking at me like I'm crazy, but this thing is still here. And people from other countries are facing their wave, and they're coming here to visit. And I'm just like, yo, you need to put on a mask. What are you doing? You're crazy. So that's where we are. So yeah, thanks, Kay. But on to some politics. So that bum that used to reside in the White House may be facing another indictment. Lord have mercy. I mean, this man is always in the news over some legal stuff, but you know what? Percentages of this country voted for him in 2016, and 75 million voted for him 3 years ago, and this is what you're receiving. So let's just go into further things. Agreed. So, the bomb's classified documents trial date is set. What we know, complex case. So, the bomb is into handling his classified documents is set May 20th of 2024. In one of the several criminal and civil cases he faces, he runs for office again. He pleaded not guilty to the documents case, calling it a empty hoax. The Justice Department wanted the trial to start in December, but his legal team wanted to push it in past of the 2024 election. He pleads not guilty to 37 charges and classified document case. The law professor of Columbia University said the U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon ordered Friday settling a May 20th, 24 date, and said it was appropriate and reasonable effort to balance the legitimate needs of the defendants against the need to move the case forward, yada, yada, yada. The legal complexities involved, the quantity of classified documents, and Cannon's lack of experience is such a case that contribute to lingering delays. And you know what? It is, because, if you think about it, she favored for him about a year ago or two. And so these classified documents is just, I'm not surprised at all. I'm not surprised. Nobody's surprised. I'm not surprised. It's going to be more stuff coming. Stay tuned. We don't know what's coming. I am not a fortune teller. I'm just look, I'm just sitting there I told you so. I told you, all you voters, so that this shit was going to happen. This shit was going to happen after he left office, because I knew he was going to be a one-term president, 4 years. Knew that shit was coming, and that's that. But it's sad that, we got dumb people in this country that don't look like me. And there's some that do look like me. They're stupid too. So there you go. Chantay, why you calling them stupid? Because they're stupid. That's why I stay in my own lane. And this is why, like, I am in a small circle of friends, because I don't want to be surrounded by dumb people. No. So there you have it. Besides spending time on that shit, the reject Kennedy child himself, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., was in Congress, which I'm just like, why people are giving him such airtime, I have no idea. I don't understand it, but this is where we are. Because he is running for office like he has a chance in hell. Like his family is supporting him. Yeah, ignore people are the dangerous ones. But I just want to find the clip that delegate and representative of U.S. Virgin Islands, originally from Bushwick, Brooklyn, Stacey Plaskett, basically has time to read RFK after all of his anti-vaccinated remarks, his anti-Semitic views, anti-black positioning, yada, yada, yada. So just want to find this clip and I'll play it for you.
His own family just decries his stance on vaccines, and families disagree on a lot of things. I got family members that, we all disagree. So that doesn't mean anything. But the fact that he has famously sent a request to a party guest that they had to be vaccinated to come to his party. And I'd like to introduce into the record a letter from Louis Silkin, a law firm representing Mr. Kennedy, which states, as he has stated repeatedly, he vaccinated all his children, and I'd like that to be introduced into the record, but tells the Black community and myself, a mother of 5 Black children, that I should really be careful and not necessarily have the same safeguards to protect my family, my children, from a virus that has killed millions of people because I'm Black. There's no secret that this is an amplification of his own platform.
And the fact that he has Steve Bannon behind him, irrelevant Tulsi Gabbard behind him, and then other loser celebrities supporting him, you see where this shit is going. This is like not real. Like his candidacy is not real. His own sister, who used to be married to Andrew Cuomo, that's her baby daddy, because it is her baby daddy, denounced her own brother. You have people in his family that works for the administration, including his first cousin, John F. Kennedy's only surviving child, and his nephew, who is the envoy to Ireland, who works for the Biden and Harris administration, and his family is supporting him again, including his mother, who is 95 years old, is supporting Biden. No one in his family is not supporting that crap. They're institutional Democrats. Whether people like them or not, they're institutional Democrats. So RFK is the black sheep of his family. He's literally the black sheep of his family, because nobody, even one of his other cousins, came out and spoke out against him. His family ain't for that crap. His dad is rolling in his grave. His uncles are rolling in their graves. Shit, his grandfather and his grandmother, they're rolling in their graves. Like, really? And his other aunts and uncles. One of his aunts is the founder of Special Olympics. Like, they're rolling in their graves right now with this nonsense. So RFK, reject Kennedy child, enjoy your little airtime that you got now, your little 15 minutes of fame, because it's going to die out. Because by the fall, you're not going to have no airtime. The president and the vice president is not paying attention to you. Nobody in, Democratic circles are not for you. And honestly, I don't blame them, because I'm one of those Democratic constituents that's not for you, because I think you're a joke. So there you have it. Yeah. Okay. I mean, listen. His mother ain't paying him no attention. Ethel is 95. They like, Ethel's alive? Ethel is alive. Ethel is living, okay? Ethel is alive. She's sitting up in her little house, chilling. 95. Still kicking. Still walking around, rolling around, whatever she doing. Ain't paying attention to her goddamn son with his bullshit. Just saying. I'm just saying. And speaking of more Dem primaries, you have the crystal ball lady. And then you have the Green Party candidate, the same jacket wearing as Dusty one, spewing anti-American, pro-Russian talking points. So you have basically knuckleheads that don't have a freaking chance in hell. I wish people would stop giving them airtime, because they have no chance in hell. Marianne Williamson is literally broke, losing employees left to right, and Cornel West has less than 100,000 in the bank. How's people working for him? And then he's being advised by, lame Dr. Jill Stein, who owes people money after that whole recount crap, after messing things up in 2016. Really? These people? Why are we giving them airtime? It makes no damn sense. They make no sense. But unfortunately, this country likes to chase over stupidity. That's just what it is. And they're the stupid ones. So whoever voting for them and supporting them, don't come with the BS and say we need to save democracy together, when democracy is literally going to be on the precipice. Because I remember y'all supporting these knuckleheads. Yep, he is supported by the GOP. That's right, Kay. Hands down. So, the GOP, another hot mess. Like, you talking about Democrats? Well, I talked about the reject Democrats. The reject Democrats. The GOP, on the other hand, they're a whole entire mess. I mean, dysfunctional. They're, not united. They're divided. They don't know if they're going to support Donald Trump, support Ron DeSantis, or try to, do a third party candidate. They don't know what they want to do with themselves, because they're just that conflicted. But they are a big tent party, according to Speaker Kevin Owen McCarthy. Big tent party doesn't mean you welcome white supremacists and domestic terrorists into your party. But, that's what Kevin wanted. He bended his back to please them. And he's looking like a fool every time he talks on television or makes any appearances, period. But, you got the clown show, the primary, which, it's almost like 2015 for them again. Like, they're trying to fight to see who can get the base. And now they're fighting for the Trump base. It is insane. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Grassley, that old fart, he's in trouble, too. He's in trouble. First of all, you're 89 years old. What the hell are you doing in the Senate? You should be, like, in the senior citizens home having some milk and cookies. But anyhow, so, yeah. I mean, Ron DeSantis, trying to limit education, Black history in Florida public schools. I feel bad for the children in Florida, who is going to get a redacted education because they have a governor that's just a walking domestic terrorist. But that's who some of these people voted for. They voted for a Ron DeSantis the second time. And he's losing money for his own state because he's picking fights with Disney, with all these other major companies in his state. That's dumb. Why are you going to argue with the people that is providing jobs for your constituents? For your 21 million constituents? Be for real, sir. Be for real. Be for real. And yeah, I have my list here, see? But I didn't like the fact that he tried to attack the vice president. That is what I was going to get at him at that. Let me tell you something, Ron. Like, there is receipts out there stating that you are trying to eliminate and limit, African American history being taught in schools, trying to put a muzzle on teachers. Maybe, you should focus on trying to hone the African American community because you're running for a president, which you don't have really a chance in hell, and try to make things right with your constituents, even though people may not vote for you the third time because you're messing things up and you're losing money for your state. But I just want to tell you this thing. Don't come for the vice president because it's making you look like a racist. I mean, you already are an open racist, but you look more like a racist and a misogynist when you go after the vice president, which the vice president has a right to speak up and speak up for teachers, which she's been doing for a long time, and speaking up for the most vulnerable for a long time. Unlike you, sir, who is trying to make things harder for the average person, especially the African Americans and the Latino community in your state, which I don't know why some people in the Latino community voted for your racist ass, but this is where we are, America. Yeah. So, Ron DeSantis, keep your goddamn mouth shut and worry about your failing campaign, because last time I checked, I heard that shit is failing. Just saying. Speaking of Ron DeSantis and the GOP clown show. Wait, I'm going to get onto that in a minute because I have a long read for that. But I want to address something really quickly about Christopher James Christie of Newark, New Jersey. Sir, you trying to stick it to Donald Trump? We remember very clearly and vividly, after you drop out the race, after he attacked you, you still supported him. You went to the White House dozens of times. And when he announced his re-election for president in 2020, you not even openly supported him, went to the White House, caught COVID, almost succumbed to COVID. You coached him for the 2020 debate, having him attack the president, then candidate former Vice President Joe Biden, Cottonniv, attack him. That's what you try to do. So we remember very clearly that you were shucking and jiving for Donald Trump. So now that you saw the light, and now you're this new refined person, miss me with that bullshit. Because you will still be the most evil person. I mean, you have said it dozens of times on different platforms that you will put a ban on abortion like the country is at that level. Because the last time I checked, the country is not at that level. We have progressed and evolved on our ideas, sir. So you can miss us with the bullshit. I'm just saying. Now, I got to get into Mr. Sellers. Bakari Sellers, Democrat strategist, former Democrat lawmaker in South Carolina, who is now a CNN political commentator, has been for quite some time, for a couple years. Mr. Bakari Sellers had this to say, okay? About Ron DeSantis. He literally Bakari Sellers, CNN political commentator, had the audacity, never in my wildest dreams, to speak highly about Ronald DeSantis. I just wanted to play the clip for you where he said this.
With them, and although he was able to handle those questions and deal with them, and although I don't believe in his policies per se, but he actually looked decently presidential today. Yeah. I'm not sure it was a reset because everything is, I'm anti-woke. Today he just inserted in the military. But at least today he started to give the vibe. There's still a Scott Jennings thing.
It's a vibe primary. It's a vibe primary.
He started to get the vibe that he could be president of the United States.
I want to play that shit again.
Believe in his policies. Today he was able to handle those questions and deal with them. And although I don't believe in his policies per se, but he actually looked decently presidential today. Yeah. I'm not sure it was a reset because everything is, I'm anti-woke. Today he just inserted in the military, but at least today he started to give the vibe. There's still a Scott Jennings thing.
It's a vibe primary. It's a vibe primary.
Bakari, what the hell, man? The vibe? He looked presidential? Ronald DeSantis is far from being presidential. He's ignorant as hell. Look what he's doing to his state. He's isolating his state from the rest of the goddamn country. But he looks presidential? This man is trying to ostracize. No, not trying. He is ostracizing the Latino community. Even though they support him, which I don't understand why. Trying to restrict the rights of African Americans in his state. Not wanting black history to be taught in schools, banning every fucking thing under the sun that will help his state, arguing with a company that provides entertainment for families. But he looks presidential. He gives the vibe. See, you turn into Van Jones. You and Van Jones might as well hold hands together because y'all are crazy. You know, I don't know if the money is dry. I don't know if the books are selling anymore. But this shit is motherfucking disappointing. And Bakari, honestly, you're written off the list. I don't know if we can hold hands together, sir. But this shit here, you lost me. You lost me. Like, what the fuck? And Scott Jennings is stupid. We all know he's dumb. But Bakari it's a fucking shame. I would expect this shit from people like, let's see, Alice something, her name, Amanda Carpenter. Even though Amanda Carpenter wouldn't even come out her motherfucking mouth and say that shit. Nor Tara Setmeyer. They wouldn't come out their fucking mouth and say that shit. Not even Margaret Hoover. Like, what the... And I don't even like Margaret. So, I mean, what? You pulled a Van Jones, motherfucker. Yo. What is going on with my people? What's happening? What is happening? Bakari wants some money. And what is he with these men from Colombia? Him, Leonard. What the fuck, man? And Harpo. Oh God. What? Oh, yeah. And even my cousins from Colombia. Get your shit together, man. Get your shit. Jesus. I don't even want to talk about him. But I want to have a conversation. Because I think this applies to all folks. Well, excuse me. It's time for me to have the conversation with a certain demographic who keeps supporting a party that strips their rights away. And I need to have this conversation with them, because if we don't have this conversation, then y'all going to hear me roar next year in November. But I want to play this clip for that certain demographic that keeps voting for, the Grand Insurrectionist Party, also known as the Grand Old Party, also known as the Republican Party, also known as the Party of Lincoln. So, I got the clip. And here it is.
Trump again, that's not even a question to me, but I also probably won't support Joe Biden. I'll likely write someone in.
Why not?
Because he doesn't reflect my beliefs. It just hands down, I feel differently on national security, on life issues, on the economy.
How are you different from him in national security?
I frankly would have done more to aid Ukraine earlier. The Afghanistan withdrawal was heartbreaking to me. I worked on issues with Afghan interpreters for years beforehand, and my friends got left behind
from the Ukraine.
Not all Republicans. There's a big split in
Ukraine,
it.
right?
There's a big split among the Republican Party. I think
Do you think the Republican would have done something different?
On Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't know that Donald Trump would have.
Like who?
I think any other Republican would have handled it slower, steadier. We would have kept
Really?
Yes.
But Trump was the one that made the deal to withdraw the troops from Afghanistan.
But it never came to fruition because he lost, and then Joe Biden had a disaster.
And Joe Biden is helping Ukraine. Half of your
I actually think Joe Biden,
against that.
you can mark my words, I think Joe Biden's doing a pretty good job on Ukraine. I would have done more. I would have given them MiG sooner. I would have given them F-16 sooner. That's not...
And inflation is going down. Gas prices are going down. What else do you object to? I want to know what a Republican
I don't share his policy positions. We talked about the student loan bailout. I feel like it was giving people a lifeline but lying about fixing the policy. We're not addressing the unaffordability of higher education. We have a crisis at the border. You guys were so upset about this horrific thing that was allegedly done where they're turning kids back. But that's happening because we told people to come here with no plan to help them, no plan to change the system so they can come legally and have the assistance they need here.
What did Trump do about that? He didn't even build
again,
the wall.
we're talking in binaries. I don't want either, and that's what most Americans are saying.
Yeah. But that's who they want.
We're talking in binaries, and a presidential election is a binary choice.
It will be.
But it's very difficult, and I think you sometimes underestimate it. It's very difficult when you have grown up in a party, when you have worked in a party, when you've got party loyalty. It's very difficult to go from I'm not going to vote to I'm going to vote for the Democrat. I've done it. I did it in 2016.
What did you do?
I voted for Hillary Clinton, and I voted for Joe Biden,
Biden.
and I'm going to vote for Joe Biden again, because if the choice is a man who, in my view, is a threat to national security, a threat to democracy, a threat to world order, evil, crazy, and unstable, and I have a binary choice. I either go for the Vatican or I go for Joe Biden.
Said she would not vote for Joe Biden.
I've said this before. The answer might be different if I lived in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, a swing district where my vote could be the difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. That would be a different scenario. I'm voting in Manhattan. I am going to write in someone. I'll likely write in Will Hurd, but I'm still open. I love Tim Scott. I could vote for Nikki Haley. But I'm not going to compromise.
Why bother voting?
You should, because there's a down ballot races. I care about local.
Invalid vote.
I care about local races. I care about my governor. I care
vote
about
for them.
And I'm going to, and I'm going to write in who I want. But I'm not going to be boxed into what I think is a failing two-party system where we're not putting up our best candidate.
So you
it's
just throw
It's not throwing away my vote. It's not. I don't see it
with a lot of people that sit in that seat have said they cannot. It'd be like asking you to vote the other way. There are people that don't agree on policy.
I think I agree with Anna. I would never throw away
It's not throwing away.
my
I'm
presidential
casting my
vote when my people fought so hard.
It's not throwing away. I'm casting
But
my
not
vote.
voting is throwing your vote.
It's a lot to unpack here. It's going to be probably maybe a 10-minute diatribe. So, let's have this conversation, white women. Let's have it. So, my thing is, I don't despise white women. That is the number one thing. Let's just make that clear. Because there is a narrative saying that Chantay doesn't like white women. Chantay can't stand white women. No, that's not true. My issue with the majority of white women, not all, but the majority of white women, you guys position yourselves as allies to us. You guys position yourselves as, standing in the need with us when it comes to fighting, for reproductive health, fighting the right access to abortion care that's included, you know, fighting for education, yada, yada, yada. The list goes on and on. But the moment a candidate that you don't like on the Democratic side becomes the nominee, what do? Y'all switch to the other side and vote to the other side, or you guys vote third party. And you know what? We get disaster warnings like, let's say, a George Bush and the former bum who served in the White House for 4 years. Let's use 2016 as an example, when everything was basically on the line. Our courts was, you know, on the line, democracy's on the line, everything. And what happened? You guys went and voted for that bum. You wrote in the candidate, you stayed home, or you voted third party. And you know what we had? We had that man. That's what happened. In 2020, you didn't really vote highly for the Biden and Harris ticket. Y'all voted 55% for him. And in 2022, y'all voted for Republicans to be in the House. And that's why we got a lot of Republicans in the House. Next year is consequential. Every year from the next couple years is going to be consequential. And if you guys do what Alyssa wants to do, right in the candidate, because she lives in a certain area in the city, then I don't know what to tell you. This is exactly why you will continuously get all the smoke you can get. So when you say fight for democracy, I'm not standing in need of y'all when y'all want to write candidates in. And as for Alyssa, I live in Manhattan. How dare you? How dare you to say I live in Manhattan so I can write a candidate in because I know the Democratic candidate is going to win? How do you know that? Let's take the 2022 New York elections as an example. When stuff was on the line, when you had a Democratic candidate, maybe not the strongest Democratic candidate, versus an insurrectionist and an election denier. The election was between those two. So you telling me that you wrote in a candidate, you wrote in a candidate for 2022, or you voted for Lee Zeldin? Like, which one was it? Because I'm going to keep it real. Kathy Hochul was not my candidate and possibly not my favorite politician out of all politicians in New York City or New York State. But you know what? She is better than that man. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I made the right decision because we still got the majority in the state legislators. We lost some seats in Congress, but we got the majorities in our state to do what we need to do. But the fact that you say that you live in Manhattan, you can write somebody in, that's like an insult to native Manhattanites like me. Born and raised and still vote here. And still live here. So you can keep that gentrified shit, that fucked up thought to yourself. Because that was offensive. So you can keep all of that crap and that thought to your goddamn self, because that was very disrespectful. And it was very offensive. But to the white women, the 53%, 55%, you know, the majority of you that keeps voting for Republicans, let's keep in mind that Republicans are still going to continue to strip the rights of most marginalized groups, including y'all, away. They already rolled back Roe versus Wade. Let's start over. Prior to Roe versus Wade, they put 3 conservative justices on the court to roll back Roe versus Wade. And then affirmative action happened. They rolled back and eliminated affirmative action. What's next on the plate? Plessy versus Ferguson possibly, or Brown versus Board of Education. I won't be surprised. So I need y'all to think clearly. Next year, or what you're going to do. Actually, start thinking now into next year. Because if you guys pull that shit that y'all did in 2016, 2020, and 2022, y'all can forget me as an ally standing with y'all. Because that's not it. No. No. It's not happening. No. So yeah, that's my spiel. But be conscious and be informed. So I'm telling you, stay safe. Have a good night. Peace.